Let's welcome in our morning guest, S.V. Prasad, joins us, chairman at Chime Consultant. Sanjeev Basin also now joins us from India Infoline. Ruchit Jain, technical view from Angel Broking, and K. Subramaniam also joins us to give us an F&O perspective. Sanjeev, quickly from you, do you expect this rally would continue?
Well, Pankaj, we think that the liquidity burst and finally most people now wanting to put cash to use and caught on the sidelines. Maybe this week you could see a top. We don't see the Nifty extend above 8750 to 8800 as a rough shot. And tomorrow's RBI policy may be status quo. So we think most of the good news is already in, and we are seeing a lot of frothiness now on prices. So we think this is definitely near a top. And second half
Sanjeev, I'll just come back to you. Sanjeev, I'll just come back to you. Markets have opened, so 31 points higher as far as the first tick is concerned. HDFC Limited on your screen is up 0.7. Hero results today up 22 rupees ahead of results. Ambuja Cement is up with a positive bias. Wockhardt is down close to 10%. Don't be surprised if it actually goes down further from here on. These sort of news of import alerts on plants and probably such things take a lot of time to correct themselves, and that's why markets generally tend to get upset. Lower circuit 10%, but it's a F&O name, so the circuit would open largely into the next few minutes or so. It's opened right now, down about 9.5 as far as Wockhardt is concerned. Let's look at some of the other, Nifty gainers and losers. So if I look at the Nifty names in terms of what's gaining and losing, Hindalco is up about 2%, 147 as far as Hindalco is concerned. We spoke about Novelis, the results over there, 2.5% higher for Hindalco. Tata Motors DVR, there is a report which is coming from Morgan Stanley. We'll go into the details, but they have said that they would prefer DVR versus Tata Motors main share. So that's what they are looking at. Tata Motors DVR is among one of the top gainers. BPCL is up 1%. Grasim, Z Entertainment, Maruti continue to do well. Auto as a pack did well on Friday as well, is doing well today. So we spoke about Tata Motors DVR, that's up. Maruti is up about 1%. Bajaj Auto is up 1% or so. M&M is up about 1%. Of course, Hero MotoCorp would be reacting to results, but that's also up about 0.78% ahead of results today. As far as losers are concerned, so technology as a pack is down. Cognizant declared numbers, lowered their guidance. Maybe that's why names like Infosys, TCS are slightly on the softer side, but very, very marginal losses, 0.3% sort of decline. And Idea down about 1.5%. Idea also declares numbers today, and again, data growth over there would be very, very keenly watched, and maybe that's the reason where Street is expecting a slowdown to come in. Idea is down about 1.4, 1.5%. Some of the results reaction that we can look at as in terms of what's happening. So let's look at Tata Coffee. Very, very strong set of numbers. Up 13% for Tata Coffee, 131. SREI Infrastructure, again, decently strong set of numbers, 2.5% higher. Ujjas Energy, that's a company that declared numbers. It's not a very frequently traded counter, but right now it's up close to about 10.5%. These are some of the mid-cap names. JK Cement also, to add to the list, is up about 8%. Profits came in at 60 crores versus a 1 crore profit last year, same time. So even JK Cement is reacting positively. It's up 8% right now.
Right, just pull up the ones that have the highest turnover. And Tata Coffee is right there on the list, as Pankaj mentioned. Its PAT was about 27 crore last year in this quarter, and now it's more than doubled. It came out to about 64 crore profit after tax. There's Mangalam Cement. Mangalam Cement had a loss in Q1 of 2016, and now it has a decent profit. So that one is up about 11-12% at this moment. Hindustan Construction is up about 3.7%. Dhampur numbers come out. That's up about 3.3%. We'll be speaking to the management today. SREI Infrastructure, as Pankaj mentioned, tough times in Q4, doing much better this quarter. Its profits have actually gone up sharply from about 23 crore in Q1 2016, FY16 in Q1. It's now gone to almost 52 crore for SREI Infrastructure. That's up now about 3%. Hindalco, Novelis numbers have come out, and we'll give you a little bit of details there. That there's been a significant movement again from loss to profit, back to profitability. A 5-year high in terms of EBITDA per ton for Novelis. So Hindalco is up 3.3% there. Amara Raja Batteries, the numbers came out. Not a dramatically great numbers. The EBITDA margins have actually shrunk a little bit, but much better than what the markets expected. Markets expected a decline in Amara Raja, but Amara Raja Batteries is about a 6-7% increase in profit after tax. Some numbers coming out today: Max Financial Services, and before that 2.2% up. The petroleum marketing companies, the oil marketing companies are doing well again. There's HPCL, BPCL, both up 1.8, 1.7%. Store One Retail up about 1.6%. JK Tyre, Bajaj Auto, Maruti, they're all doing well. Vedanta is up about 1.3% on strong volumes. So this is broadly what the picture looks like. In terms of the ones which are losing the maximum on high volumes, high turnover, you've guessed it, the number is Wockhardt. 11.3% down. That's the name. Down 11.3%. Very, very high turnover. In fact, in terms of turnover, it's probably the highest right now that we are seeing. Yeah, it has the highest turnover within the first few minutes, 5 minutes, 11% down on Wockhardt. And some minor losses as well in terms of IFCI, down about 3.9%. Union Bank of India, we mentioned the numbers were bad, 3.6%. Ugar Sugar, it is had gone up for the past few days, down about 2.9%. Karnataka Bank, 2.6% up. BL, Bharat Forge, 2% down, both of them at this moment. So that's what the picture looks like from the highest turnover, highest traded spaces at this time. Let's go across to our guests one by one. Let me start with SV. SV, the BPCL, HVCL, let me start with that. They've been on your buy list for some time, right? But they've been going up. When will you say that it's no longer good buy?
No, so long as the global oil prices continue to be soft. And also, let's not forget that BPCL is also looking at other sources of revenue other than just oil. They're looking at monetizing their assets. And if you typically look at any oil major overseas, roughly about 50% of their revenue comes from non-oil revenue. So BPCL has been a pioneer in that sense, and other oil companies have also quickly followed suit. And BPCL has also gone, both backward and forward in the sense that they are going downstream with the petrochemical complex in Cochin. They have gone upstream by buying oil assets across the world, including Mozambique. So that way, BPCL has really gone up and down the value chain. And
well,
very
it's
innovative
HPCL, which you gave as your pick, right? Between the two?
I'm sorry?
For us, I think you gave HPCL along with SBI as your on your buy list right now? Between the two, BPCL and HPCL?
Yeah, BP would be more on my hold list because BP relatively is the most expensive stock in the pack.
Right.
That's why it's on my hold list. But every time there's a bit of a downward this thing, BP would certainly be a buy as well. I mean, because that's the stock which has the highest premium in terms of valuation parameters in the oil sector in India. So that's why I didn't mention BPCL earlier today.
All right, HPCL is a buy and SBI is also one of your top picks, right?
Yeah, I mean, because among the public sector pack, I like SBI and especially, I mean, the chairman is very, very determined that she will put through the merger before the year is over. I definitely expect, a lot of advantages to come out of that. Government has already given its first tranche of support in terms of capital to SBI. And if you compare to the private sector, I mean, SBI is definitely cheaper, I mean, it's a no-brainer in that sense.
Right.
So that's why it's a quality name. I mean, quality management. So that's why SBI is something I mentioned.
All right, SBI is also looking technically strong to K. Subramaniam. Mr. Subramaniam, just give us what the logic is, what your stop loss is, what your target is.
Well, SBI has been the relative stable count in the last, I think, couple of weeks, and technically also it has consolidated above the 220, 225 level and seen a breakout past 230, which is heartening. Of course, today it's a bit soft, I think, on the back of maybe some negative, results from a couple of PSU banks. But broadly, I think it's definitely heading upwards. One could buy it, keep a stop loss of 225 and keep a target price of 245.
All right, that's SBI. You also have a few more picks, and among them, L&T Finance is another within that financial space. Just give us what your logic is there.
Yeah, this is coming back into radar after quite some time, and saw some pretty aggressive breakout past 75, I think a month back. But since then, it has also consolidated. It's gone past 80, and I think it's probably heading higher in the coming days, and we could possibly buy it for a possible target of 93. Keep a stop loss of 85.
All right, and one final pick from Keith Subramaniam, and that's Godrej Industries. 430 is your target there. Let's just pull that up. Why do you say that? What is the pattern showing right now?
Well, this has been a pretty good outperformer on the long-term charts, but also seen some decent correction. Though it's not exactly participated with the market trend in the last, I think, week or so. But it's seen a decent correction, but I think a decent pick. One could buy it for a possible target of 430, and maybe keep a stop loss of 390.
All right, I'm just going to go to Sanjeev Bhasin, but before that, Mr. Subramaniam, if you could just pull up if you have it in front of you, or if you remember the Wockhardt chart. Now, it has been consolidating for, I would say, what, almost 7-8 months now, and today it's actually dropped quite a bit. Found support at one of its, where it was trading in the February space. But is this a counter that you would short?
Well, this has been a very tricky counter. I remember the July series also, we saw some very sharp spike in one of the days and only to give up the entire gains in the next couple of days. So it's been a very volatile counter, and current juncture very difficult to take a call. And at the momentum with which it is falling, I think I would be a bit wary about going short as well, or either for that matter going long. So I think I would better off keeping away from the counter.
All right. Let me go to Sanjeev. Sanjeev, I'm going to take your picks in just a second, but before that, what's your view on Wockhardt?
Well, we've had a negative view on the entire pharma space, and it's too volatile for any investor to try and catch these stocks. And it started all the way from Dr. Reddy 1.5 years back, when you had a perpendicular fall. Now, whatever the FDA reason and what is the counter back, it is telling you that this defensive is not holding up as it should have. Along with that, you've seen also weakness in IT. So I think the best character of being in a defensive as far as pharma goes is played out. Now we only see concerted weakness, and it's too volatile for small investors to invest in. Wockhardt is the perfect example. It's been a constant stock which gives you 15% upsides, only to flatter, to deceive, and give you 25% downside in the last 1 year. So for us, it's a total avoid. We have two top picks over there. Dr. Reddy on declines because of the buyback, which the company has come back on 2850, 2900, and Biocon, where we think the guideline for insulars and the biosimilar market is showing you that a lot of traction on the upside, both on the volume side and on the margin side. So for us, these are the two picks which we have. Wockhardt is a total avoid from our side.
All right, Biocon is a buy from Sanjeev Bhasin. But Sanjeev, I'm looking at you have 3 picks here. You're not giving any long short straddles right now.
Well, in our view is that we are negative on in the sense, not negative, but we are saying book profits. This has been the best opportune time you've had. These 4 months have been the best you've seen in the last 3 years. I mean, given the duration. So it's a good time to raise cash and sit down. We think the inevitable correction is on the cards. Monsoon, earnings, GST all has played out. Global liquidity is now chasing the top rather than being cautious. And I think sooner rather than later, second half, we could see a sharper than expected correction. Right. We will wait for levels below 8,500 to short this market. We are not going outrightly short. And on the buy side, like we mentioned, we are taking a 1 year view on certain 3 stocks which we have mentioned.
All right, let's pull those stocks up. NBCC, your favorite?
On the back that yes, NBCC for a target of 300 by the end of the year is definitely on the cards. The only little caveat would be an OFS by the government, which again would be lapped up by a lot of foreign investors who have turned extremely bullish. Engineers India is the best proxy on falling oil prices and cash coming on the back of OMCs, which are going to reinvest in expansion on both the hydrochemical and the petrochemical cycle. And Engineers India is the biggest beneficiary there. And thirdly, Ultratech. This has been our top recommendation on your channel from 2700. We had a target of 3,800, but we've upped the target to 4,200, given the strong results across the board from cement stocks. And we think that the construction season after September, October will be on the upside, and you could see price rise across the board. So 4,200 would be our target for Ultratech, but a caveat, please buy on declines.
Buy on declines, right, because you're saying that there could be declines right now. All right, Ruchit Jain, Equity Technical Analyst at Angel Broking, is also there with us. Ruchit, what are you doing right now?
Good morning. Probably on the index front, we are still positive on the markets from short-term trading perspective. On the monthly charts, we have seen that the resistance is coming around 8800, 8830 level. So I think that further upside about 80-100 points odd upside from the Nifty could be seen even from current levels. So just from short-term trading perspective, we are still positive. There are no signs of cautiousness or there are no signs of reversal on the charts as of now. Yes, in case there are any reversal signs or reversal pattern gets formed, then I think we will change our view. But as of now, we are still trading with positive bias for targets around 8800 to 8830.
All right. Ruchit, what are your picks right now?
Yeah, so from short-term trading, my first pick is a buy call in GAIL. This stock since last 3 months have been consolidating in the range of 405 to 370, 375 on the lower side. We are expecting this consolidation to continue, but if we see, then the prices are right now at the lower end of this broad consolidation range of last 3 months. Even at the lower end of the range, there are a couple of other supports coming in: 89 days exponential moving average on the daily charts, also super trend indicator which is in buy mode. So there are many support levels coming in around this 375, 370 range, and prices also at lower end of the channel. So we are expecting this stock to move higher, the prices to move higher towards the higher end of the channel. Hence, it rewards a good risk-reward ratio at current levels. So we are suggesting to buy GAIL from about 8 to 10 days of perspective, keeping a stop loss below 372 for target of 400. My second pick we are recommending is a buy in M&M. Probably this stock has consolidated in a range for 2 weeks, and if we see the broader trend on weekly or the monthly charts, then definitely this is a higher top, higher bottom formation on all time frame charts. So whenever the stocks correct sideways in an uptrend, usually that's a time-wise correction, which is a positive sign that the stock, when it is correcting, it's showing a time-wise correction rather than price correction. So we are expecting this resumption of the uptrend in this M&M. So we are recommending it to buy M&M with stop loss below 1442, and we are expecting target somewhere around 1514 very short term. And my last call that we have recommended is a buy call in BHEL. Probably it's just from a trading perspective. I don't have very aggressive targets over here, just because last couple of weeks of corrective move, after this last couple of weeks of corrective move, the prices are trading near 50% retracement support of this previous up move. Hence we are expecting a pullback move in the stock for target of around 147 to 148. Again, I would say that I don't have aggressive targets in BHEL, but just from about 1 week's perspective, one can go long with stop loss placed below 132.
Right. Just wanted to point out two names. Union Bank, it's a results reaction. It's down 6% now at the day's lowest point. And Hindalco, of course, Novelis, which is an arm which contributes more than 50% to its EBITDA declared numbers, which was solid. So Union Bank is down 6, and I think Hindalco is the top gainer on the Nifty 50 pack. It's up about 5%. Let's look at Hindalco, up about 5% right now. Sanjeev, you look at a lot of these metal companies, especially names like Hindalco, Tata Steel. What's your view on the Novelis numbers? If what the management is guiding in terms of free cash flow, if majority of their capex is behind, this acquisition could also prove to be a very big one, even though later than what the street was expecting?
Yes, Pankaj, if you recall, when Novelis came out with its last quarterly numbers, the price of Hindalco was 92.93. I was on your channel and I suggested that Novelis numbers after almost 1 year have come out much ahead of the street, and it's telling you that, in America and North America, it is going to be an outperformer. That is what has added the fuel to the fire on the front of Hindalco. Plus, locally also they've seen an expansion in their margins and extremely good price appreciation on both aluminium and copper. And I think that is why you've seen the stock almost give you a 50% return. Now at 150 to chase it would be a little bit out of the blue. We don't think there is any more upside here on the price front, but definitely on a longer term, like we said, 2017 could be the changer and commodities could be leading from the front. Only after seeing a pullback now in the next few months, we think that 2017 base metals will be where the real money is, and you could even see Hindalco chasing, looking at targets of 250 in the next 2 years.
Right. Let me get in SV again and a little bit more on Wockhardt. That stock, let's just show that stock to you, what has happened there. Dramatic drop on Wockhardt. And, I'm just trying to look at what Wockhardt's, why that's down. Let's just pull up those graphics for you and show you what has happened in Wockhardt. Vichitra Salotra is with me right now. Vichitra, if you could just take us through what has happened on Wockhardt again and why that stock is down 11%. And then I just want to bring in SV on Wockhardt again.
Yeah, and so 11% drop on the stock and on high volumes as well. So US FDA has banned the Ankleshwar plant for Wockhardt. That means that they cannot import, there's an import ban, so you cannot export anything to the US from, it's a manufacturing alert. There 10 to 12% of US sales come from the Ankleshwar plant, and about 2 to 3% of the overall sales for Wockhardt comes from the Ankleshwar plant. Now Wockhardt had already got 3 import alerts for its Walood, Chikalthana and Shendra plants. So this is another negative. We spoke about this before the markets opened. The reaction on the stock is expected 11% down, and there's more to go right now.
Right, but Vichitra, you also mentioned that there were some reports that the US FDA has closed those inspections of Walood and Chitalkhana, right?
Yes, Anand. So there are reports that Walood and Chikalthana inspections have been closed with not much negative observations made by US FDA for Wockhardt, but we are still to get official confirmation on that. So.
Right. Okay, Wockhardt, and I'm looking at the numbers there. If I look at the kind of PAT expectation for Wockhardt for FY18 SV, it comes to about 720, 725 kind of crores for Wockhardt. And in terms of its EPS, the estimate for FY18 is about 65 rupees. Now, if I just work out the kind of drop that these US FDA numbers do to Wockhardt, its EPS should drop to about 62, 50, 61%. If I assume that the broad net margins remain similar, it could go up, it could go down. Now, at 63 rupees and trading at 900 rupees, Wockhardt is still at about what, 12.5 times FY18 earnings. Is that now worth buying at 905?
See, Arun, generally, whenever there is this kind of negative news and as one of our other fellow panelists also rightly commented, when you don't know whether it's the end of the game, and frankly, if you want to be in this space, there are other better counters, both in the large cap and the mid cap space, companies which have got FDA clearances, etc. Now, why should I unnecessarily fish in troubled waters, I would much rather keep a distance, know everything is, all the news is out. Okay, that may mean that the stock price may correct a bit, but when there are other quality names in the same sector, we are talking of sector now, we are not talking cross sector, then one would much rather
but I'm just trying to look at the multiples themselves, because if I compare others, they're all at 18, 19, they've all gone up ever since US FDA has cleared some of them. They're at 18, 19 times FY18 earnings, and only the mid-cap, lower mid-cap guns, even in Aurobindo, I think right now is trading at about 16 times. So it's just that it's much cheaper, and if some of that news that the report suggested that Walood and Chikalthana are okay, that they are going to restart production, then will we see a sudden surge, sudden recovery?
No, could, but frankly, I for always felt that good quality pharma names should be part of one's core holding. Now, I would stick to the tried and tested rather than doing this, because Wockhardt, let's face it, both in terms of news as well as market price, the volatility in Wockhardt is much higher than most of the other comparable names. So I being a safety conscious player, I would much rather stick to a slightly higher price stock where the visibility of earnings and these kind of hygiene issues are not there, rather than trying to kind of play a 3-4 PE ratio hike happening. I would not do that. In terms of my own style, I would much rather stick to the tried and tested and be on the conservative side. That's my call. I mean, and just one other completely general point I thought quickly before we go off air, which I wanted to mention also, is that I frankly think when GST starts getting implemented, I foresee some kind of a correction happening in the mid-cap and small-cap space especially, because I always say that the God is in the details, and implementation is going to be easy. Multiple registrations are being talked about. There's going to be a lot of disruption on the players who are not part of the the organized sector in terms of taxation, etc. So that's going to cause a lot of upheavals. I hope not socially as well. So that is definitely going to have some impact on markets. There could be an inflation hike as well. And for those people who have missed the mid-cap and small-cap run, I think that's the time to wait and watch out for very closely.
Right, that's an important point there as he's making. Let me go back to Mr. Subramaniam. I have one company for you, and that's Aurobindo Pharma. I don't know if you track that at all, Mr. Subramaniam.
Yeah, that has been a relative outperformer, and I think by and large has been free from some of the negative news flow. So I think a decent pick at current levels, and we have a target price of around 825 in the coming weeks.
825 in the coming weeks. Anything else in the pharma space that you think is good?
Current juncture, probably I would give it a pass because of the general mixed trend in the entire sector. Yeah. So I think, we had a buy call on Biocon, but current levels probably I would be a bit cautious and maybe just hold on to the existing holdings.
Okay, give us a sense of what you think of Hindalco, because if one looks at the chart, that is an absolute runaway, right?
Well, Hindalco, all the corrections have been very short-lived, and of course at 152, as Mr. Basan also mentioned, probably not the right stock to chase. But probably on hindsight, I would probably look into buy into something like Hindalco. That has also seen some very decent performance, and that has also been in some news in terms of buyback of shares from the government, and they have also got some, I think, bauxite mine lease, etc. A lot of positive news, and I think it's near the 52-week high of around 51. So I think that's a decent bet, and I think we could see some levels of 58.60 in the coming days.